How about that for a beautiful live shot out of Paris, France? The Eiffel Tower. And you know what? It's not raining. How amazing is that? There's a lot raining down, though, on the parliament elections. It's sending shockwaves across the continent after far-right candidates made unexpected gains. Nowhere is that more pronounced than in France right now, where President Emmanuel Macron's moderate party was beaten so badly by the far-right party of Marine Le Pen that Macron called for a snap election, dissolving parliament in the process. Patrick Reevell joins us now from London. So, Patrick, let's explain to our viewers a little bit of European politics 101 here, and start with, what is a snap election?
Hi, Kira. Yeah, I mean, as you say, these European elections have really had the most impact in France, where Emmanuel Macron has called the snap election. And it's because in these European elections, Marine Le Pen, the far-right leader of the National Rally, formerly known as the National Front, achieved unprecedented success. She took about a third of the vote in those elections, and that has prompted Emmanuel Macron to call this surprise snap election, saying that he needs to confront the rise of the far right and that he believes it must happen now. And it's an attempt, basically a gamble, to try and head off the far right before France's presidential elections in 2027. And we should say, you know, these are going to be parliamentary elections. They're not going to be presidential elections. That means that Macron's post itself is not under threat from Marine Le Pen. But if Marine Le Pen was to have a strong showing in this snap election, he could find himself in the worst-case scenario having to share, essentially try and govern with a far-right prime minister. Having said that, you know, European elections are very often about protest votes. That doesn't mean that they're going to translate into a strong showing for the National Rally in these snap elections. But what most experts are saying is that this is a huge gamble by Emmanuel Macron, and essentially we're looking at what's going to be a referendum on the rise of the far right in France, and right now the outcome isn't really clear. Kira?
So if we can read the tea leaves for a second, does this give any insight into the election this year? In 2016, you know, Brexit was a preview of a Trump victory. Any chance of a similar situation here?
You know, I think that's a very interesting question. I mean, I think obviously far-right parties here in Europe would like to see it that way. They hope that they are a predicator of a Trump victory, and obviously they see a great deal of similarity in their movements. But the picture from these European elections that we've just had is much more complicated when you look at it overall, because ultimately, despite the headline that the far right made significant inroads, in reality, you know, the centre more or less just about held. Centrist parties took the largest share of the seats in the parliament. The mainstream centre-right party still dominates the parliament, and that means that ultimately, for now, the consensus of the centrists is going to continue to govern in Europe. I think the question of Brexit is particularly interesting in France, though, because, yeah, a lot of experts are comparing Emmanuel Macron's decision to call this snap election similar to David Cameron's decision to call for the Brexit referendum. That was an attempt to try and head off his own far-right wing in his party here in Britain, and obviously we know how that ended. Obviously, Macron hopes that that won't happen in France this time. Kira?
Well, we're going to follow it, that's for sure. Patrick, thank you.